Hey baby, I spend a lot of time talking about Star Wars on my channel. I think I'm going to do something different for a change. What do you think?
Yeah, what are you going to talk about?
This. Hey, welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. I'm a comic book artist and I have been for 25 years. I'm also the illustrator of Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, a book that I hope you've read. It'll give you a different outlook on lobsters. This is Brutally Honest Portfolio Reviews number 22. Welcome to it. So what do we mean by brutally honest portfolio reviews? This is a chance for you, the amateur artist, to send your work, 4 to 6 pages of sequential illustration to me, and I will review it and give you a critique. I'll tell you exactly what I think of it. And I'll be harsh and cruel and mean, and I might make you cry. But at the end of it, you'll come away enlightened. You and the people who watch this video, who watch your verbal berating, your video berating, will also feel better about their chances to succeed as an illustrator in comics. I want to introduce you to a fellow named Xavier who sent me this. Is it Xavier or Javier? Spelled with an X? I'm not really sure, but if he were an X-Man, he'd be Xavier. So this is Xavier's work, and he sent me an entire book called Samsung 2. Pretty cool. So we're going to go through some of it. We're going to talk about where Xavier is succeeding gloriously and where he is failing miserably and needs improvement. Let's take a look at this real quick. Let's back out and let's look at the pages. We've got a lot of angels coming in from the sky. This is me every time I sing. This is what it looks like outside. And then we have a gentleman here who looks like another angel. He's wrapped in looks like a 5XL shirt from Crypto Fashion. Probably says Soilo right around here. And then suddenly we cut to a bar where there are women checking him out and giggling. He's obviously a very amusing fellow. All right, so what can we say about this? All right, so this first panel is a nice establishing shot of angels coming down to this little town here. The angels are all in very interesting poses. They're all exerted. They're all like powerful. There's a lot of thrust and motion in the way they're moving. This gentleman right up here, a little bit odd here with his, it looks very strange. He's got his kind of tunic swooping around. Fortunately, he is wearing underpants underneath here because this is a little bit of a peekaboo moment. I'm always afraid this is going to happen to me when I get out of the shower and I'm wrapped in a towel. Could happen. That's why I stay away from strong breezes indoors. Yeah, look at this. This is a little crooked, this leg here. I would like to say this leg is not following the movement of this body. This leg seems to be cocked around, no pun intended, cocked around this way. You do want to actually kind of follow the motion of the body. This leg should be back this way a little bit. It could be, I think if this knee were bent, this might be okay. It's also too high up here. It's just, yeah, it's also, this is kind of the muscle that goes right down here, and then there's kind of the hip bone, and then we kind of attach a leg to it. So actually, the knee would be right about here. This is nice. I mean, you know, most of this is really nice brush work here. It's interesting. All of it is inked in brush, from what I can tell. There might be a little bit of pen. Did you start it with brush and then go in with pen a little bit? It could be more detailed, but if this is the style that you're going for, I mean, it certainly is, you know, it doesn't hurt to look at. We're having a lot of problems here with the angels all kind of going in different directions. You've got this guy kind of going in this direction. You got this guy going in this direction. This guy's kind of coming at us. This guy's looking down. What are you all looking at? What is your purpose here? This guy's looking at this guy with envy. This guy's like, ta-da, check me out. A lot of strange poses. I would just kind of try to stick to one direction. I would use a one-point perspective probably here just to get them all moving in unison with one another. If you were to put the vanishing point right down here, which is where the horizon line is. And we remember what the horizon line is, don't we? The horizon line is the point where the ground meets the sky. These mountains are up over the horizon line. Don't get confused. Just because this mountain here is the point where you know, the sky stops being the sky and starts being something else, that doesn't mean anything. These mountains might as well be houses. They're sitting on top of the horizon line. The horizon line is probably right about here. So if we put a nice vanishing point right there and then shot out perspective lines off of that vanishing point, we would be able to find where these angels, the direction that their bodies should all be moving in order to all kind of be coming from the same spot. That would be helpful. Unless they're descending from heaven. This guy looks like he's coming from the horizon line. If they're descending from heaven, I would actually put the vanishing point. I put a vanishing point way up here in the sky and do the same thing and have them all coming from a point up in the sky. That would be just fine. That would be a nice fake 2-point perspective shot that we talked about before with a straight line going up here and a vanishing point here and another vanishing point that sits on the horizon line. So you have a fake 3-point perspective shot. Keep the parallel lines with the horizon and then boom, 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 and then dun, 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 and you've got a beautiful fake 3-point perspective shot, which is actually 2-point perspective turned on its side. In any case, you want to get these angels all working with one another in unison. They're all fighting each other in their movements. They're all very distinctive individuals instead of, there's nothing about them that says, hey, we are of one purpose. And I think that's what angels are. These guys are just all coming down and again, I mean, very super heroic poses. It's a little bit, I don't know, it's sending the wrong message to me. They're all super muscular and they're all in very heroic poses as they come down and meet with this gentleman. And then we've got this panel here. This is a little bit troublesome. I do like his pose. I like the way he is acting in the scene. I also think it's okay the way you push these people back into the horizon. It looks like we have the horizon line right here. You push them backwards by just using a small faint line around them. And that is good. That pushes them into the background. Is he grabbing her hair? I like that. I wish I could see more detail on these characters. I do. I think it wouldn't hurt to show more of her face. But you're working with a brush and you're a little bit timid with that brush. You're just doing this kind of outline kind of thing. I'd like to go in there and finish these drawings for you. This is good. See what he's done here with this bold, thick line here? He's pushed something into the extreme foreground. That's a great trick to use. Foreground, midground, background, and it's all done with line weights. My lady here has an enormous head, an enormous watermelon head. She looks like me. She's got a watermelon head just like your Uncle Ethan. Her head's too big. We need to, make that a little bit smaller. It needs to sit on her neck right about like that. But yeah, I mean, these are good. I would look at these and say these look like kind of thumbnail sketches, like you're going to finish the drawing later. They just don't look complete to me. Color will help. Color will help. Let's go to page 2. Look what we've done here. Look what Xavier's done here. What a great, look at this. This is fantastic. What a great pose. He's got his foot up here. We're having trouble with the perspective. We're having some trouble with perspective, Xavier. Let's see. We've got 1 point right here. Dun, dun, that's fine. And Xavier has pulled this out from that 1 point. Horizon line sitting right about here. That's correct. You'll see, I mean, everyone is cut across at about the same point here. They're cut across right about at the knee. Kind of this guy might be a little bit, he might be floating in air a little bit, but for the most part, this is where the horizon line is. So Xavier has these lines receding together, these lines receding to meet a point here, but then he gets confused. He doesn't know what this is doing here. He's got another vanishing point that's somewhere over here, like, yeah, that's not exactly 2-point perspective. You're going to want to put another vanishing point. If you've got a vanishing point here and you want to do 2-point perspective, which you don't even really need to do, but if you wanted to do another point, remember my string theory that suggests that for 2-point perspective, vanishing points are on the horizon line like this, and the further one goes in, the further the other one has to go out. So in general, and this is a small string, it would be much longer than this, but I want you to see my fingers on the panel here in the frame. So we've done this. We've put a vanishing point all the way in the dead center of the panel here. That's our first point. Our second point then has to react by going clear off the page. And I've moved, you can't see my finger anymore. I've moved like 6 inches off the screen now. I'm clear over here with my other vanishing point. Now, what is that going to end up doing? That's going to end up making these lines, first of all, not recede this way down. They're going to recede kind of off that way. See the slight angle off towards the horizon line like that. This one too, off towards the horizon line, towards this other vanishing point, and a very, very slight angle. I would say most people who put a vanishing point right dead center of the panel like this, right dead center of the action on the frame, it's only necessary to do a 1-point perspective shot. These lines here, these ones, on the church, you can see them as well. See these lines? These are all reacting to the same vanishing point as these lines should be reacting to. They're on the same plane. So you see how this, I mean, they're parallel with one another. They're parallel. So are these right here, these lines against it, but they're basically parallel. That's because this is meant to be a 1-point perspective shot. Now you can turn it into a 2-point perspective shot, but if you do so, your other vanishing point is going to be way the hell that way. Way that way, okay? Like way off the page. You're going to have to tape another piece of paper to your sheet, and you're going to have to put a vanishing point just clear out over here. That way you will kind of get a very graduated, see how my pencil, imagine like this is, the butt of the pencil here is attached to the vanishing point. The lines are going to go very gradually up like this, very slowly, so as to suggest that they're almost parallel. I mean, the graduation of the line, okay, of that angle is so slight that they're almost parallel. That's why this looks funny here, because you've lost the plot in terms of the perspective. So other than that, love it, love the church, love the background. I like it all. This is a terrific panel, Xavier. Let's look down here and see what goes on. I don't know what, is he going, who is this? Can't tell who this is. But anyway, he gets off a motorcycle and he goes into a building. That's just fine. I like it. And then something happens here, and then something happens here. God only knows. God only knows, Xavier. We don't know what this is. We don't know, is this guy the same guy as this guy? The belt, we can't really see too much of the belt. His hair looks like dreadlocks here. It doesn't here. Here again, it looks like dreadlocks. These are clearly the same guy. But this one here doesn't necessarily look like this guy. I think putting the belt in there a little bit better. Let's accentuate that belt. I would also accentuate the kind of dreadlock look of his hair. Here, it doesn't look so dreadlocky. I don't know what this is. Somebody turn on a floodlight? What happened here? Did he just bang his head on the ground? Is this grass? Did he fall down and he's... I don't know. I mean, it's well drawn. It just doesn't tell the story very well. I'm getting used to the way you ink, though. Even though this looks extremely sloppy to me. See these pullouts here? I mean, this could just be a stylistic choice. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter that you make these pullouts pretty or not. They are serving the same purpose. You do look at this illustration and you go, yeah, it works. You know, it works. My eye is seeing what it needs to see. But it's just not very pretty. And the other thing is, these pullouts are pretty cool in the sense that they're all going towards this point here. I do like that. You would need to continue that. I would just go ahead and I would just like that and have all of these pullouts aimed straight at the point right here in the center. And that would just add more of a feeling that whatever this is actually cutting through him. There's more impact. It's impacting his everything about him. All right, let's see the next page, Javier. Is it Javier or Xavier? I'll call you Xavier. I'm going to try to keep calling you Xavier. I feel like calling you Javier. There he is. He's blowing his horn on top of that building. Just great. Look at this monster here. Look at this monster with this kind of Kevin Nolan kind of line work that you've added. Great. Really great. They're all going to the church. Good. They need some church. They need a little Jesus. Great form. Great form. I love the shadow. Yeah, I don't want to complain about it. I'm not hating. I can't hate. Down here, can't hate this either. I don't think. You've got some kids seeing the monsters. I mean, obviously, this is pretty cheesy. Get in there with the white and get rid of these extra lines within the window panes. Pretty great. Pretty great. Your storytelling is pretty bang on. I like this. Always study your Bible. I like that. Okay. Listen, this is great stuff. This is pretty good. I think the longer these go on, the better the pages get. I don't know how much time passed in between the production of these pages, but when we get to this and we see these monsters through the window panes, we see somebody's hand in silhouette. This is very professional, and you're getting better with your brush. And by the time we get to this panel, hot stuff, hot stuff. We got a little problem here. I mean, his leg is a little short. His leg's a little bit short here, but I still like it an awful lot. It doesn't bother me. Well-drawn motorcycle. It's moving. I like the shotgun coming right at us. Boom, right through the dinosaur's head. That's not really what comes out of a shotgun. You know, a shotgun is a scattered blast of various little. I mean, it would. You know, it's not just one. It's not just one shell like that. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. This is buckshot. It should be all over. It should destroy his head. Love it. Look, see, in the foreground, again, he's using this trick a lot, and it's an effective trick that people should know. You'll have something in the foreground here. Look at how this kind of frames the action. See this kind of V shape that he's created here, and inside the V shape, we've got the guy that we're supposed to be looking at. You know, you could complain about this and say, that's just barely drawn. That's barely there. It doesn't matter. You see it. You see it. Your eyes actually fill in the blanks. Great fat line here around this character. Slightly less fat line around this character, pushing them right into the foreground, pushing these guys right into the background, but at the same time drawing focus to them. There's something about putting a big fat line around something that's in the foreground that actually, believe it or not, detracts the eye from it. And that's what you want to do. You just want to be like, feel like, hey, you're sitting behind this guy and looking over his shoulder at the main action. It's effective. It's a great trick. The eye falls for it every time. Look how good Xavier's gotten. You compare this to the first page that we look at. This is 2 years worth of growth and progress. These characters don't they kind of blend in with each other a little bit? I mean, you are using these tricks pretty well. You've used a fat line here to separate him from him. But at the same time, I just want to see more texture or something to individualize these gentlemen and separate them one from another. Great poses here. Good. I mean, your proportions are getting much, much better. Love this. Big hand here. Well, you know, here's the thing about that. I mean, really, when you have this kind of foreshortening and something is very large because it's in your face, you only have one face. You're only sitting in one spot. So you do have to kind of decide if you're going to use this kind of foreshortening and then have something really, really big because it's in your face, it needs to be where the eye line is, okay? It needs to be where the viewer is. So here's where we're sitting. We're sitting in a chair. We're right here. We're looking at these guys come right at us. If anything is going to be big, unless this guy has a just supernaturally large hand, if anything's going to be big, it's going to be because it's right in our face, and our face is right here. So that hand would need to be right here. All right. Everything else, I mean, you know, it recedes off into the distance. There's very little of this going on. Very little of that. Very little forced perspective when, you know, it's not right in our face. And you can test that out. You know, you can have a friend go outside and off to your peripheral vision and put his fist out in front of him and see if his fist looks bigger to you. It doesn't. It will only look bigger if his fist is right in your face. And don't let him punch you. And if he does punch him back, look at this. All right, so this is a little bit odd. The way he's done this, yeah, we're supposed to hit this first. I kind of want to go to this panel first, but he's connected these two panels. He's done it in a way that's a little bit tricky. He's gonna get away with it. We read this way, and then he's got to swing it around it this way. All right, you know, that's all right. It's gonna pop. This sword leads us to the next panel, and this kind of swoops us around. Xavier has gotten really, really great with everything, with his action, with his storytelling. Now, as he does this, I'm going to push him harder on his inking because his inking still isn't where it needs to be. It's too loose. There, at this point when he's drawing this well, I do want to see more focus on control. Control that line. Let's get some more detail in these faces. Let's make them more realistic. Great right here. This is really, really good. Good acting. And then nice action shot here. I'm going to look at one more page. He sent me 23 pages. I always look at up to 6. All right, and we've got a guy with dreadlocks swinging down into the crowd. I love this. This is just, yeah, perspective issues. Yeah, there are a few. But then again, too few to mention. This is, let's see. So the horizon line's right about here. 3 heads. I don't know. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. I would like to see these guys that are right below him. They're going to be much bigger than this. If he lands, and he's not that high up off the ground. He doesn't feel like he's that high up off the ground. He looks like he's maybe 5 feet off the ground right now. So these guys should be huge and taking up a lot of room on the page beneath him. Yeah, I have some scale issues here, some scale questions that I'm not happy with. These guys look great. I mean, great. Xavier, you are, it's one of those things where I'm just watching you grow right on the page. You are a sensational storyteller. I can tell that you're going to get better and better. I would consider turning my stuff over to an inker if I were you. I would just go ahead and see what happens if your pencils are handled by a really good inker. I think that you will be surprised, and everyone will be surprised at the difference between what you're doing with your own inks and what somebody else might be able to do. Phenomenal job. I think Ava likes it too. Very, very good work. So, those of you who enjoyed this, who would be interested in having your portfolio reviewed, you can send me 4 to 6 pages of sequential art to Ethan, ETHAN 12032 @gmail.com, or you can DM it to me in a direct message on Twitter. I am at Ethan Van Sciver. Yeah, I mean, just send me 4 to 6 sequential pages of artwork, and I choose them at random. I will do a review video, and let's see what we can learn from each other. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks. Aren't you tired of this soy-based entertainment? Well, let the world know by ordering your Soylo, a Soy Wars Story t-shirt, or Tico, a Soy Wars Story t-shirt. Both come in all kinds of sizes from small to 5XL. We're sure we can fit you. And thank you very much for your support of the channel. The link is below in the description. Man, it's exciting. Suddenly I'm a t-shirt merchant as well. Humble Frog Ink and t-shirt merchant. Thanks, guys. Hey, want to follow me on Twitter? Okay, cool. I'm at Ethan Van Sciver. Talk to you there. Hey, so I want to stop and thank everyone who's helped this channel to grow. It's experiencing growth like few channels are permitted to. Few channels get the privilege of growing at this rate, which is about 1,000 new subscribers every day, and it's because of you. And I want to thank you for everything that you've done. I want to thank you for those who pledge to my Patreon. I want to thank those of you who contribute to Super Chats during my live streams, and those of you that comment, who leave thumbs up, and who share these videos. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. We'd love you to join this community. And yeah, thanks so much, guys.